All right, we are continuing on with the Psalms, and we're going to have three different folks come up today. It's going to be Danielle Chastain, Jonathan Haag, and also Dave Jaicomo. Danielle's going to be starting with Psalm 121. Danielle is an old friend, and Danielle and Jeremy are old friends to me and Kier's, and I could go on and on. So I'm going to try to. I'll keep her introduction short here. But I want to say this about Danielle and also about Jeremy. They walk so well. They walk so well. And when I say that, I mean they walk by the Spirit so well. Bob Warren used to have a thing he called the principle of the cross, and it was every member of the Trinity has been in relationship with the other for what the other one gets out of it since eternity past. Jer and Danielle, as a couple, if you ever want to talk to someone about a marriage, they're a great one to talk to. They're always in it for what the other one gets out of it. They're in a relationship for what their friends get out of it. At work, they're in it for what other teachers get out of it, admin gets out of it, students get out of it. Just wonderful, just unselfish people. And the kind of friends you just rarely ever find, and if you ever find them, you just cling to them. So she walks by his life within her. She's a wonderful woman of God. Proverbs talks about wives like this, and Jeremy would say the same. He is very fortunate to have her as his wife. Amen. There it is. So I am grateful to call her my friend, mine and Kirsten's friend, and I don't ever separate them as a couple, but grateful for both of you, and I'd like to introduce all of you to our friend Danielle Chastain.
Perfect. Thanks, Matt. You weren't just to kind of make me tear up before I came up here. That makes it a little harder. I kind of laughed when he said, "Let me move the stand up for you." I'm like, I don't know how you're going to have to move it. Can you all hear me, even with this here? Here we go. Okay, what I'd like to start off with is how many of you still have the back to school dream? Anybody still have the back to school dreams? Yeah, they show up. And even if you're not going to school or you're not a teacher, you're not involved in education, they come up because they represent uncertainty, evaluation, and pressure. So, and I'm sure we probably have people in this room that are either going back to school, whether it's elementary school or college, or we have parents that are preparing their hearts to send kids back to school, or we're just in a season of new beginnings. So if you know me, I'm in a season of new beginnings right now. So I'm truly having the back to school dreams, which I've had my whole life. And they always come back the same. It's almost like a recurring dream, and it's always college. It's on a different campus every time I have the dream, so I don't know what those campuses are. I'd love to visit them. They were great in my dream. But it's always about the schedule. I'm always missing my schedule, and I can't find it. And then I'm always like, everyone's been going to school for like 2 weeks, except me. And then I'm trying to like find the things. And it's just funny. And so I don't know if anybody else has those, but right now I am. I'm having those because school is starting in a week, and I'm so excited. But it also comes with some odd fears, right? And things that just come along with that, which I think is pretty normal. So I'm fortunate enough and honored today to share Psalm 121. And the reason I go to that verse is because it has a calming and anchoring presence for me. And I love chaos. I actually thrive in it. Like, I can't get enough of it. So I have to get grounded somewhere. And so there are verses like this that do that for me. So I'd like to just read through the verse first before I unpack it just a little bit. And this is the Song of Ascents. I lift my eyes toward the mountains. Where will my help come from? Oops. Give me a second here. Oh, thank you. I'm like, Jeremy, you need to come up here. My help comes from the Lord, the maker of heaven and earth. He will not allow your foot to slip. Your protector will not slumber. Indeed, the protector of Israel does not slumber or sleep. The Lord protects you. The Lord is a shelter right by your side. The sun will not strike you by day or the moon by night. The Lord will protect you from all harm. He will protect your life. The Lord will protect your coming and going, both now and forever. Isn't that cool? It's so calming. So, in moments like these, in these new beginnings, whether you're a student, a teacher, a parent, or support staff, you might find yourself asking a quiet, honest question: where does my help come from? And that very question begins Psalm 121. I lift my eyes toward the mountains. Where will my help come from? That was verse 1. Let's picture this together for a moment. The writer of this psalm is preparing for a journey. It's not a smooth paved road or on a school bus. It's a rugged uphill climb. Ancient travelers heading to Jerusalem had to pass through wilderness terrain. The mountains ahead weren't just scenic, they were uncertain, even threatening. Behind every band would be wild animals and bandits, and the climb would be exhausting, and the sun would be scorching. The nights dangerously cold. So as the psalmist looks up at the looming mountains, he names what many of us feel. This is too big. I don't know what's coming. I don't know if I'm ready, and where will my help come from? Now hear the answer. Firm and full of peace. My help comes from the Lord, the maker of heaven and earth. And that's in verse 2. This isn't just optimism. This is anchored hope. The psalmist doesn't say, I've got this, or I'm strong enough, or I've done this before. He says something better and something so true. A reminder that we don't do anything in our own strength. My help comes from the Lord. Now listen to what comes next. It's like a warm blanket or promises wrapped around fears. He will not allow your foot to slip. Your protector will not slumber. Indeed, the protector of Israel does not slumber or sleep, in verses 3 and 4. Isn't that beautiful? God is never asleep on the job. He doesn't doze off while we're packing your child's lunch or packing them up for college. He doesn't miss the moment when a kindergartner walks into a classroom for the first time, scared eyes. He doesn't blink when a student's sitting alone at lunch, wondering if they'll find a friend. Like, the cafeteria is the worst, right? Like, it's just the worst. I remember, those are the dreams too, right? I have no one to sit with. Even as an adult, I'm like, can you sit by me at lunch today? Like, I don't, who am I going to talk to? Why do we do that to kids? Like, we just throw them all in there and go, figure it out. God does not slumber, though. He's watchful, constant, and present. The psalm continues with this beautiful imagery. The Lord protects you. The Lord is a shelter right by your side, and the sun will not strike you by day or the moon by night, in verses 5 and 6. What's striking here is how close God is. He's not watching from a distance. He's right beside you. And when the day feels overwhelming, when the noise is too loud, the expectation's too high, or the list is too long, God is not far. He's your shade, your shelter, and your steady companion. I just find that so calming. I almost need to put this on a Post-it on my computer just to remind myself. Ground it there, Danielle, just ground it there. And just when you might wonder, will this last? Will he really stay with me through the whole year? The psalm ends with these final promises. The Lord will protect your coming and going, both now and forever. And that means when you walk into the school building on the first day, He's with you. When your child takes the bus to kindergarten for the first time, He's with them. When you're in the quiet moments of college preparation or a new job, the chaos of transition, and even the tears of, I don't think I can do this, God is with you now and forever. So today, as you step into the season of new beginnings, remember this truth. You don't walk into the unknown alone. You don't have to carry all the weight. You don't have to climb the mountain of your own strength. You have help, and your help comes from the Lord, the maker of heaven and earth. And I have one more story to share about God being with me. I just had to take a huge exam last spring that I'd studied for a long time for, took 2 years of courses. And when I went in to take the exam, I felt like I was going through TSA at the airport. Like they had to wand me. It was all this stuff. It felt so weird. And when I got into the final room where I was going to take the test, they're like, you have to undo your pockets. I'm like, okay. Pulled out my pockets, and there was my little baby Jesus. You know, those little Jesuses. And the guy that was like the security, just without a beat, he goes, you can keep your Jesus with you. I'm like, thanks, everybody.
Thank you, Danielle. I told you she's great, isn't she? Danielle, that was wonderful. We're now going to go to Psalm 136, if you want to turn in there, and Jonathan Haag's going to be sharing this with us. Tell you a little bit about Jonathan. Jonathan is over here with his beautiful wife, Monica, or as her friends like me get to call her Mon. The three wonderful boys. Danielle has said your boys are like the best in like the kids area, so that is it's good. You guys are doing a great job. I've actually known Jonathan since a younger age. He's young, but I realized early on with Jonathan, there's a tremendous amount of wisdom and kindness. Monica, would you agree with that statement? Yeah. And when I first met Jonathan, he shared he had aspirations that someday he wanted to be mayor of Carmel. Ever since that day, I've been trying to get him to move to Fishers and become the mayor of Fishers. Any city would benefit from a wise and kind leader, and selfishly, I want that to be my city, so I want him to take over my little hometown. He's a huge Pacer nut, as I am. We always talk about trades and things like that and playoffs, and has a zeal for the Pacers that is only rivaled by his zeal for the Lord. So, wonderful man of God. So with that, I want to introduce you to Mr. Jonathan Haag. You want this here, bud? Yeah. Okay.
Well, good morning. It's always scary standing up here and seeing everyone, and there's lights and all that. I did want to say something to what Danielle was talking about in the getting thrown into the lunchroom. And Rick also said something about being that insecure kiddo at youth camp over the summer. But the thing I wanted to share was, and I don't know if Rick is still here, but when I was an insecure sixth grader at youth camp out at Windermere in the Lake of the Ozarks, Rick was the really popular one, right? There he is. He's still the really popular one, but I was a little sixth grader, and he was leading worship as the band leader. And I remember walking to lunch. It was a really long walk at Windermere, especially for sixth grade boys. They put us at the very back of the camp. But Rick, again, being the cool guy, had a car with him. And I remember my friend Matt and I walking to lunch, and Rick pulling up alongside us saying, "Hey, you guys want to ride?" And I think I sat in silence in that car ride, just being in awe of being like, oh my gosh, I'm in the cool guy's car as a sixth grader. And but to Danielle's point, God shows up in community, right? And that was probably a really insignificant event for Rick. But for me as a sixth grader at camp, being thrown into that, it just gave me such a confidence boost. And I just had to mention that with that mention of youth camp. Fast forward a few years, in 2012, I received a C minus in my preaching class. So I'm just kind of setting the bar here. And I wear that C minus pretty loudly because while I don't think this was the lesson my professor was trying to impart with that letter grade, I do think it's important for us as a community of believers to understand this, that whether we show up talking and looking like a Nokia flip phone, or we show up with all the features of an iPhone, it doesn't matter, because it's all about the internal hardware. And this is what Danielle was talking about, this piece. Because as believers, we've all got the same spirit inside of us, and that spirit connects with clarity to each other and to God. And I'm so thankful for that. So I'm excited to share Psalm 136 and a thought or two with you. So first I'm going to read the psalm. Give thanks to the Lord, for he is good. His faithful love endures forever. Give thanks to the God of gods. His faithful love endures forever. Give thanks to the Lord of lords. His faithful love endures forever. He alone does great wonders. His faithful love endures forever. He made the heavens skillfully. His faithful love endures forever. He spread the land on the waters. His faithful love endures forever. He made the great lights. His faithful love endures forever. The sun to rule by day. His faithful love endures forever. The moon and stars to rule by night. His faithful love endures forever. He struck the firstborn of the Egyptians. His faithful love endures forever. And brought Israel out from among them. His faithful love endures forever. With a strong hand and outstretched arm, his faithful love endures forever. He divided the Red Sea. His faithful love endures forever. And led Israel through. His faithful love endures forever. But hurled Pharaoh and his army into the Red Sea. His faithful love endures forever. He led his people in the wilderness. His faithful love endures forever. He struck down great kings. His faithful love endures forever. And slaughtered famous kings. His faithful love endures forever. Sihon, king of the Amorites. His faithful love endures forever. And Og, king of Bashan. His faithful love endures forever. And gave their land as an inheritance. His faithful love endures forever. An inheritance to Israel, his servant. His faithful love endures forever. He remembered us in our humiliation. His faithful love endures forever. And rescued us from our foes. His faithful love endures forever. He gives food to every creature. His faithful love endures forever. Give thanks to the God of heaven. His faithful love endures forever. So there are a lot of smart folks that have written and spoken about the history and the use of the psalm. I'd encourage you to research and understand that context. For example, one commentary on the psalm remarked, "From the striking form of it, we should infer that it was a popular hymn among the Lord's ancient people. Most hymns with a solid, simple chorus became favorites with congregations, and this is sure to have been one of the best beloved. But when I think of this psalm, I think of the rhythm of this community, whether it's on Sundays in Pinheads or any other day of the week in our friends' homes. This pattern shows up. And here's the pattern if you didn't catch it. We recognize God's goodness through Scripture and share moments of wonder and awe in our life. Okay, that's one part of it. And from that recognition and sharing, we celebrate his faithful love, right? Do you see that rhythm that showed up in that psalm? This psalm really, I hate to break it to Rusty, hopefully he's not listening, but this psalm could really be the cliff notes of our last year of Sunday morning messages, right? From creation to Israel. But don't take my word on it. Listen for it. See if you can spot this rhythm in our community. It's a beautiful, beautiful rhythm. And lastly, when I think of this psalm, I think also of the practice of remembering. I'm grateful to have friends in this room and friends outside this room that will constantly share this rhythm as it showed up in their life. I think a lot of Sundays we hear it, these praises that we share, and that's the rhythm, right? Here is what God did. So when we, with intention, take time to recognize, celebrate, and remember the moments that we see God's goodness, we begin to see even more of his wonder. And again, don't take my word on that. Go and try it, right? Write down the moments that you see his wonder and watch how awesome and wonderful moments multiply. I'm grateful for this beautiful rhythm that comes from our shared spirit, that little Jesus in our pocket and heart. And I'm thankful for that shared spirit expressed in the uniqueness, as Matt says this nearly every Sunday, this uniqueness that's expressed in each of us and in me. So thank you.
Thank you, Jonathan. Thank you very much. Monica, thanks for sharing him with us. So, very good. All right, we are now going to move on to Psalm 139. It's going to be done by Dave Jaicomo. And Dave is over here with his wonderful wife, Kim. If you know Dave, I would say that there's one word that encompasses Dave. It's a good description of him, and that one word is joy. Absolute joy. And if you remember growing up, if you remember the Winnie the Pooh books, Winnie had a friend called Tigger. And Tigger was just like like you're a kid. It's like, I'd love to have a friend like Tigger. And now I do. And I just love that about him. He's in a Bible study on Friday mornings. You can hear him coming down the stairs. It's just he just bounces down the stairs. One Friday, didn't realize you could do this. Someone comes bounding down the stairs. We thought for sure it was Dave. Jeff Lupker does a killer impression of Dave coming downstairs. He did it. He just trying to trick us, and he did. So I can't do the voice, but go back to your childhood and do this in the Tigger voice. The wonderful thing about Tiggers is Tiggers are wonderful things. Their tops are made out of rubber. Their bottoms are made out of springs. They're bouncy, trouncy, ouncy, pouncy, fun, 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 fun. But the most wonderful thing about Tiggers is I'm the only one. DJ is the only one. He's the only DJ. And if you've met him, he is a quick friend, and he will be there for you if you ever need him. He's wonderful. Huge fan of DJ. And Kim, thanks so much for loving my friend. So I want to introduce all of you to Dave Jaicomo.
Okay, I'm gonna sit down. Joy. How about terror? I can talk a lot, but I'll tell you what, I don't talk like this very often. And when I look out here at you guys, I see so many men that had huge impacts on pouring into me and building my faith up. And I think, if I'm nervous, I think it's pretty much because of that, because so much of the things I've learned came from these great men, like Graham, for example. Great guys. So if I'm nervous, that's why. We were sitting at Matt's Friday Bible study, and somebody asked me if I was nervous. I'm like, what are you talking about? I'm fine. Speaking in public, I'm fine. And my good friend Randy said, Dave, I got a verse for you. It's Isaiah 41:10. And I thought, wow, I'll take it. 41:10 says, do not fear, for I am with you. Do not be dismayed, for I am your God. I will strengthen you and help you. And here's the best part. I will uphold you with my righteous right hand. And this is what I love about Jesus. This is exactly what he does all the time. He says the same thing in the psalm I happen to pick. And this is what he does all the time. He does it all the time. And I love the rhythm of this whole day, because when I look at my psalm, I hear everything connects. We all had random psalms, but the message is so similar. So I love that. But a couple themes in Psalm 139. And I don't know why I picked it at first. I just kind of picked it. I felt like I was in a hurry and I picked it. But by the end of it, I knew why I had picked it. Like Angela and Mike Zastro, I love it. I was the same way, terrified. And I did just what you did. I immediately read it 5 times and then wrote 27 pages and then listened to 42 interpretations of it and tried to figure out, all right, what am I going to say? How am I going to teach you guys? You guys teach me 99.9% of the time. But the couple themes, and they are God's all-knowing nature. He knows everything about us. And he's ever present. A very nice theme that we're hearing today. And that's why I know why I picked it, because in my walk I've learned that Jesus really is with me. He's talking to me all the time. And when I pick a psalm and Randy gives me a verse in Isaiah and they're identical, I go, thank you, Jesus. That was you. I got it. Okay. So let's get started here. So Psalm 139, David's reflecting on God's intimate knowledge of him. Okay. Just so you know, this all comes from people way smarter than me. Okay. The Lord, David says, Lord, you've searched me and you've known me. And I love that past tense, known me. You know when I sit down and stand up. You understand my thoughts from far away. You observe my travels and rest, and you're aware of all my ways. I love that, all my ways. Before a word is on my tongue, you know all about it, Lord. You've encircled me. You've placed your hand on me. David's saying, Lord, you know me. You really know me. You know everything about me. You know my common things. You know my casual things. You know the dumb things I do. You know more about me than I know about myself. If I have a thought before it, comes to my head, you know what that thought's going to be before I form it in my brain. You know how I'm going to form it. You know how I'm going to react to it, what I'm going to say. You know that much about me. It is that intimate in terms of your knowledge about me. So literally, he's saying, God, you know everything about me, my past, my present, my future. You know everything. And that's an interesting level of intimacy that God has with us. Matthew 10:3 says, in Matthew 10:3, Jesus says, the very hairs on your head are numbered. And think about that. He doesn't say, God knows how many hairs you have. He says, the very hairs on your head are numbered. So guys, when you're in the shower and you look down, there's a couple more hairs on the bottom of the shower, or ladies. Jesus doesn't say no, there goes one out of 142. He says, there goes number 62. That's pretty intense level. The average person has between 90,000 and 150,000 hairs. Interesting, huh? I don't know who counted that. I think it was the new guy on the job. I think it was that poor summer intern. They're like, you got to count the hairs on these 27 people this week, okay? Probably was an unpaid intern. But anyways, I love how David knows that's how well God knows him. Verse 5, he says, you've encircled me. Some of the verses say you've hedged me in before and behind, but you've placed your hand on me. Thank you, Randy. Exactly. Isaiah 41:10. Your righteous right hand will uphold you. David's saying, it's almost too good to be true that you know me this well. Because I feel your presence, I feel your protection. I feel you here. I know you know all about me. You know everything about me. And so he's kind of in awe about that. But he knows that the Lord's guiding him, and he's encouraging him. And in verse 6, he says, this wondrous knowledge is beyond me. It's too lofty. I'm unable to reach it. Can't even get my head around it. Verse 7, he says, Lord, where can I go from your spirit? Where can I flee from your presence? If I go up to heaven, you're there. If I make my bed in Sheol, you're there. If I fly on the wings of the dawn and settle down in the western horizon, even there, your hand will lead me. Your right hand will hold me. Again, righteous right hand. So David knew that not only did the Lord know everything about him, but he knew that everywhere he went, the Lord was with him. And so he's kind of celebrating, not only does he know, it's very personal, right? He knows everything about me, but he knows wherever I am. So he's celebrating the fact that he knows everything about him, but now he's celebrating the fact that he's always with him. He knows everything about him, and yet he's always with him. Comforting thought. In verse 8, prior to the cross, the word Sheol was sort of a Hebrew word for the place of the dead. So when you died, if you were righteous, you went to Abraham's bosom, and you were comforted, right? And if you were unrighteous, you went to hell, and you were tormented. So there's really two camps, one or the other. And David says, even if I die, you're still with me. It doesn't matter. You're always with me. You're always going to be with me. So it's kind of a comforting kind of fact. Again, in the ancient world, people thought that gods kind of were, in geographic areas. They were in the towns here. Or they were in the countryside over here. Or they were in this country, and they were different gods. But in 1 Kings 23, Israel defeated the Syrians. They were having a battle. And the Syrians said, hey, the gods of Israel are the gods of the hills. So we're not going to fight them there. We're going to fight them in the valley because we'll be stronger, and then we can defeat them. But God gave them over to Israel to say, I'm the one true God. I'm not limited by geography. I'm not limited in any way. And David knew that. So he's saying, God, you're not limited in any way, and you can go anywhere and everywhere. And it's kind of it's an ancient thing, but it's kind of something we all do too. It's kind of bled into our modern life, right? Sometimes we go, well, it's Sunday, I'm walking into church, I got to act a certain way. Not really. It's not really true, is it? It's not biblical. We should be consistent. We should live our walk with Christ always. Doesn't matter where we are. And Rusty's told us a million times. If you think it's just about coming here for Sunday, you're missing the point. God's with you all week long, every minute. He's always here. We're always, church is not just on Sunday, right? It's kind of neat, kind of a great thing. Again, more, encouraging. Let's see here. In verse 11, David says, if I say, surely the darkness will hide me and the light around me will be night, even the darkness is not dark for you. The night shines like the day. Darkness and light are alike to you. And Hebrews 4:13 says, all things are open and naked to him who we must make an account. So God sees everything. Nothing is limited to him. It is to us. Darkness might be limited to us. Geography might be limited to us, but none of those are a limit for God. 13, we get a bit of a shift here. For it was you who created me, created my inward parts. You knit me together in my mother's womb. I will praise you because I've been remarkably and wonderfully made. Your works are wondrous, and I know this very well. He goes on to say, my bones were not hidden from you when I was made in secret, when I was formed in the depths of the earth. So like depths of the earth, not really literally. Obviously, it's kind of a reference, an ancient reference to the womb. Formed in secret refers to, the hidden, mysterious nature of fetal development. And so David also knew that God created him in his mother's womb. And you all know that. We all know that. We all were created in our mother's womb. And here we go into the biology part of the talk. We all began as a fertilized egg. Half of our DNA came from mom, half came from dad. That's kind of, our parents came down the same way, and their parents, and in a way we all go right back to Adam. So we are all children of Adam in one way or the other. But the interesting thing is that whole process, and again, I don't think Rusty thought 10-minute talk would require 30 hours of study, but nevertheless, it kind of did, and it got a little out of hand. But, when an egg is fertilized, the cells divide, they start multiplying, right? We know this. This is, cell division. And through this process called differentiation, interestingly enough, certain cells start taking on a certain structure and a certain function, right? So certain cells decide they are going to be part of an ear. Certain cells decide they're going to be part of blood. Certain cells decide they're going to be part of your spine or your heart or your lungs or your nose, whatever. It's a real complicated process. Timing's very important. Everything has to happen, and everything kind of happens at the right time in the right order, and one day a baby's born. It's pretty amazing. But here's the cool thing. Scientists can observe that process, but they can't explain it. They can observe that whole process, and they can't explain it. And I got down a rabbit hole, and I read I don't know how much I read on this. I said, can scientists understand the process of differentiation? And they're all like, oh, you sure, we're so close, right? And after about 6 minutes, I was like, no, they don't know. They have no idea. They have no idea. So anyways, I kind of like that. But anyways, I digress. So, but again, why does it happen, right? All these cells have the same DNA. And yet some of them decide, hey, I'm going to go over here and be a nose. Well, I'm going to be a heart. It's pretty amazing, right? And how does it happen? How does that even happen? Think about it. It's because God's involved. That's just the bottom line. It's just because he's involved. And David is saying, I know you did this. You knit me together when I was in my mother's womb. And that's pretty amazing knowledge, Ephesians 2:10 says, Paul says we are God's handiwork, his unique creations. We're his work of art, right? They're kind of evidence of just the genius of God, just the amazing genius of God. It's almost too much to believe, actually, and David acknowledges it. And if you go on with Ephesians, it says we're all created in Christ Jesus for the good works which God prepared beforehand that we should walk in him. Pretty cool. And David knew he was created by God. He knew he was knit together by him. He knew God knew what he was made of. He knew what God made him for. Pretty amazing knowledge, And if you go to Jeremiah 1:4-5, you'll see the Lord says, behold, before I formed you, I knew you. So here comes another little thing that David's saying. Since God knows everything, he knew us before he knit us in the womb. If God knows everything, right, he's not in our time continuum. That means he knew everything you were going to do, every dumb thing you were going to do, every mistake you were going to make, every failure that you had in your life. He knew all that before he formed you. But you were valuable enough that he wanted to form you anyways. You were a treasure. He calls us a treasure. Isn't that amazing? It's pretty cool. And way, way back, David knew all this, and he is just going on and on about it. It's pretty interesting. Verse 16, your eyes saw me when I was formless. All the days were written in your book and planned before I even had a single day. Before I even had one day, you'd already planned every day out. You'd seen everything I was going to do. You knew everything about my whole life. Pretty amazing. So how much does God know? He knows everything. He knows absolutely everything. I mean, try to get your head around that. He knows everything he'll ever do long before you even arrived on the scene. And it's pretty cool because that means we're not a surprise to God. There's nothing we can do to surprise to God. There's absolutely nothing we can do. He already knew it. And he loves you that much. We're not a disappointment to him. And that's just good news. So we get to verse 7. He says, God, how precious are your thoughts of me, your thoughts to me. How vast their sum. This is kind of fun. If I counted them, they would outnumber the grains of sand. When I wake up, I'm still with you. I don't know why that sentence always threw me off. But David says we are God's precious thoughts. Your precious thoughts of me outnumber the grains of sand. Rabbit hole, one more time. How many grains of sand are there? Scientists happen to estimate that there are 7 quintillion, 500 quadrillion grains of sand. Oh, big number. 75 plus 17 zeros. That's a big number. I know it's more than 10. It's a lot. So somehow David figured that out, which I thought was pretty cool. And I don't know who counted those grains. I think it's the guy that counted the hairs. I think he got really good at it, and I think he moved on to bigger things. And I think he might be getting his advanced degree. But anyways, pretty amazing. Anyway, I got to digress. And so here's a cool fact. I know a little bit about counting, a little multiplication, division, plagiarism, calculations. But I think I figured out the math on this. But here's the deal. If you live 75 years, you're going to live 2.3 billion seconds on Earth. And if the Lord has more thoughts of you than grains of sand, and you live 75 years, that means that the Lord thinks about you more than 3 billion times per second. Let that sink in. So the psalm itself is encouraging so many ways. And this is why I ended up, now I know why I picked this psalm, because since I've started my walk, I feel like he's with me, and he's thinking about me, and he's nudging me, and he's encouraging me, and giving me advice all the time. No matter how many mistakes I've made, no matter how many dumb things I've done, he's still there for me, and he still cares about me, and he thinks I'm a treasure. Think about that. We get to verse 19. We're going to shift gears here, and then we're going to finish it all up. So this one's a little bit different, but he says, God, if only you would kill the wicked, the bloodthirsty men, stay away from me, who lie about you, your enemies swear by you. I think this is, David did a lot of smoting back in the day. He was taking over nations and things like that. This was pre-Jesus. When Jesus came around, he said we should love our enemies. But back then, basically, David didn't quite understand all that. But I think what he was saying was, Lord, vengeance is yours. The people that hate you, I hate them too. I'm on your side, Lord. I think that's kind of all that is. So I kind of like pass that by. But in the very end, he brings it back home, which is how he started. It says, Lord, search me, O God. You know my heart. Test me. See if I have any offensive ways in me. Lead me in the everlasting way. And I think this is kind of how we all feel, right? We all say, Lord, I please help me be better. Search my heart. I want to be better. I've thought so many times I was right when I was wrong, right? Lord, how I should be. I'm trying to learn your heart. I'm trying to learn your ways and be better. And just lead me so that I can spend eternity with you. And I think that's the final point. But that's all I got. That's all I got today, folks. But it was a fun trip going through it, and I learned a lot. And as always, I come out of these things knowing so much more than I ever thought I would. So, yeah. Thank you.